his story. What a great story he has. I just spent a few minutes backstage with Governor Pat McCrory, and Pat McCrory is fired up. He's fired up. He's sorry he couldn't be here for to meet Jindal, but he is here with us this afternoon. And since taking office in early 2013, Pat McCrory has focused his team on 3 key areas. That is the economy, education, and efficiency. And you've heard him talk about the 3 E's for the last year and a half. Last year, he signed historic tax reform into law, reducing all personal income and corporate income tax rates, eliminating special interest loopholes, and putting more money in the pockets of every working North Carolina family. And working with our General Assembly, their economic policies have contributed to the drop in North Carolina's unemployment rate by almost 3 full percentage points. He signed a bipartisan transportation reform bill that now funds highway projects on need, safety, and economic development, rather than political patronage. Go figure. I don't think you really know how huge that is, but it's already making a difference. Under his leadership, we're more than halfway through paying back a massive $3 billion debt owed to the federal government for unemployment insurance losses. The governor's emphasis on customer service has made reduced wait times in the state's Department of Motor Vehicles offices, as well as extended hours at selected locations. And his recent budget proposal to the General Assembly will provide substantial pay increases for our teachers. He is a tireless warrior, crisscrossing the state each week to meet with constituents, announce new jobs, promote his educational reforms, and even finding time to help local Republicans. Indeed, I would not be your chairman today without his encouragement and support. And it is my privilege and honor to welcome Governor Pat McCrory to our convention.
How y'all doing? I've got to say something very personal. I miss seeing Jack Hawk in the back of the room. His big grin, his compassion, his energy, and fighting for the Republican cause and a lot of the candidates. Jack Hawk was always in the back of the room, organizing, coordinating, working hard, never in it for himself. And I just want to say I miss him. And we should never forget the people. I want to just briefly tell you, in 2008, when I ran for governor for the first time, there was about 3 weeks to go in the campaign. And I was traveling out west, and I was on the road, just like Tom Tillis is now. I'd been on the road for about 15 straight days. And I was totally fatigued. The media was beating me up. I was getting short of money. I wasn't seeing my wife, and I was sick. And I called up Jack and said, Jack, man, I just don't know. And Jack said, Pat, enjoy the moment. I said, what are you talking about? He said, Pat, enjoy the moment. Just think about this. Think of the people that you're getting to meet. From the east to the Piedmont to the west, you're getting to meet the greatest people in the United States of America. You're getting to see the most beautiful state in the United States of America. You're getting to express a viewpoint and a vision for North Carolina that very few people get to do in their lifetime. Win or lose, he said, enjoy the moment. And to all the candidates that are in here who have the courage to, whether you're running for school board or county commission or state legislator or the U.S. Senate, I want to tell every one of you, first, thank you for running. And second, enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. And I want to talk as though Jack Hawk's in the back of the room right now, and I want to talk to the people of North Carolina, and I want to talk to so many of you who gave me a second chance. And I want to let you know that it is such a privilege and honor to be the 74th governor of the greatest state in the United States of America. And I want to let you know that I'm enjoying every single moment. In fact, Jack, I'm talking to Jack right now. In fact, Jack, this week, I just want to tell you about my this week. Yesterday, I was about 40 miles from here meeting with veterans who had fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they were in Murphy. And they were helping a lot of the people who can't get access to medical care and to dentistry and optometry. And they'd come home from Afghanistan and Iraq, and they're right here in North Carolina because we asked them to come, and there was a long line of people asking for help. And they're spending 2 weeks in Murphy, North Carolina, helping our people in North Carolina. And I got to hug every one of those members of the service and say thank you for your service overseas and for fighting for our freedom, and thank you for helping the people of North Carolina. And a week ago, I was in Kernersville, where they opened up one of the most incredible memorials in honor of our veterans. And at this memorial service, I got to hug some World War II veterans. And when hugging them, I felt like I was hugging my dad again, who I lost over 20 years ago. You know, when you hug someone, you feel it. And I was hugging these men who are now in their 90s. And when I hugged him, I said, I feel like I'm hugging my dad again. And it was worth $1 million to me, because I was so grateful for what they did. And then I got to hug some Vietnam veterans for when they came home, and I was in high school when they came home. They weren't respected. They weren't given a warm welcome. And I just shook their hand and I said, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In fact, before we say anything else, I'd like all the veterans to please stand up. And let's give them a round of applause and say God bless to every one of you. Thank you. You know, I want to let you know this administration, in just 1 year, we've made a major priority to help the veterans. Because these veterans that are coming home from Afghanistan and Iraq, I don't want them to be disrespected like the Vietnam veterans were disrespected. We're going to show them some respect. And let me tell you what we're going to be doing for the veterans. First of all, the veterans that are coming home, we're going to be offering them in-state tuition at every community college or every state university in the state of North Carolina. Let me tell you something else we're doing. We understand that a lot of the veterans that are coming back home, they have seen and been involved in things that none of us can imagine, who've never been fought in war, that none of us can imagine. And some of them are having difficult times. And some of them, frankly, are even having trouble with the law right now. They might be having trouble with alcoholism or mental health. And what we've done in North Carolina for the first time, this administration set up a special veterans court, where if they get in trouble with the law, we now have a special judge that can frankly understand some of the things that they're dealing with and help them. Isn't that great that we're doing our first veterans court in North Carolina? And let me tell you what else we're doing with them. Now, I want to tell every veteran in this beautiful room, when you go to the DMV, North Carolina, first of all, you're not going to have to wait an hour and a half because we're fixed DMV. Okay? We're fixing DMV. But now, if you're a veteran and you go renew your license plate, driver's license with a picture, an ID. When a veteran gets an ID, you show that you're a veteran, and we're going to put a special designation on your North Carolina driver's license and say You are a veteran, and you can now, wherever they give veterans special treatment, instead of having to pull out all your documents and papers, you can pull out a North Carolina's driver's license right now. This is the kind of respect we have to show veterans, and this administration is doing just that. And I'll tell you what else. Senator Richard Burr and our brand new Senator Tom Tillis is going to respect veterans and fix the VA. Jack, I'm enjoying the moment. I'm enjoying the moment. In fact, yesterday, in the Research Triangle Park, right outside of Durham and Raleigh, I've been working with Cisco for over a year now. Went out to California. I've met with them 3 or 4 times, along with our great Commerce Secretary Sharon Decker, like we're doing with jobs throughout. We're selling North Carolina for jobs, because I promised you, when I become governor, we're going to fight for jobs in North Carolina. I told my good friend, Nikki Haley, like I told Bobby Jindal, I told them all, they're all very good friends. We're very good friends, but we're competitors. I told Nikki Haley, I said, Nikki, when I become governor, because she helped me become governor, she and Bobby campaigned for me. I said, when I become governor of North Carolina, we're going to beat you for jobs. And Nikki turned to me and said, may the best woman win. So I hired Sharon Decker. And North Carolina started to win the job battle again. And yesterday, we announced 550 new jobs coming for Cisco. And the day before yesterday in Mebane, we announced 90 new manufacturing jobs. Every week, we're announcing new jobs for North Carolina. You know why? Because this administration, like previous administration, didn't give up on what made North Carolina great. We're recruiting and retaining industries that make things, that build things, that innovate things, that produce things, that grow things, the ag industry, the manufacturing industry. This is what made North Carolina great. This is what made our country great. And this is what makes our future great in North Carolina. We'll never give up on those industries. In fact, those industries are leading North Carolina's comeback. And let me tell you another reason they came, is because people like Tom Tillis and members of the Senate and the House came together last year, and we were getting tired of looking at South Carolina's tax rate, and Virginia's tax rate, Tennessee's tax rate, and we were the highest corporate tax and the highest income tax in the Southeast. When Republicans got in charge, we reformed the tax system. Our corporate tax and our income tax is now lower than South Carolina, Governor Haley. And she loves it. She wants to now lower hers below ours. This is why industry is starting to come back, because again, North Carolina is becoming more business friendly and more affordable. Isn't that good? Because that puts more food on families' plates. You know, just a year ago, the lowest unemployment rate in the country. Our North Carolina, we were beating California, Nevada. There was nothing to brag about there, is there? Ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago, we're not even in the top 35 now in unemployment. In fact, for the first time in 8 years, North Carolina's unemployment rate is below the national average. Jack, I'm enjoying the moment. Let me tell you where else I've enjoyed the moment. This is just this week. Earlier this week, I went out to Union County and visited Sun Valley Elementary School and met some incredible teachers, an incredible superintendent, a fantastic principal who really cared for these great students. And this elementary school, instead of being one of the worst 65% of schools, they're in the top percentile of reading and basic math. They're doing a fantastic job. And what this administration is doing and what my friends in the legislature are doing is this. We're now, for the first time in North Carolina, while the Democrats who controlled everything for the past years weren't giving pay raises, weren't showing respect to teachers, for the first time now under this administration, there will not be a teacher in North Carolina within the next 2 years, whether they live in a rural county, an urban county, in the east, in the Piedmont, or the west, there will not be a teacher that makes less than $35,000 a year. We're beginning to show them respect, and we've introduced a proposal. And the proposal was not developed inside the Beltline in Raleigh, because I promised you as governor that we'd go out and get input from teachers and superintendents and principals and listen to them tell us what is the best way to make teaching a career instead of a temporary stopover in North Carolina. And what we're doing is this. We're cutting down the career pay. Instead of 35 steps, we're cutting it down to 6 steps. Instead of basing teacher pay just on how many years you're a teacher, we're now looking at this. We're actually determining teacher pay by one thing, is performance and how well students are actually doing. How's that? We're determining teacher pay in the future on the market value of your degree. So right now, the highest attrition for teachers is science and math teachers. Well, you know what? In my business, before I came into public service, if you had a high attrition in a certain area, what did you do? You paid them more money. And that's exactly what we're going to do in teaching. If you have a higher attrition in science and math teachers, that means they're tougher to recruit. That means you ought to pay them more. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So part of our pay plan is to pay teachers more based upon the market value, just like the private sector does in every single industry in North Carolina. This is going to be known nationwide now. Let me tell you what else we're doing. We're determining teacher pay based upon leadership. You know, there are certain teachers when we went to high school, and I went to Ragsdale High School in Jamestown, North Carolina, where teachers, you knew there were certain teachers that were leading other teachers. They were leaders. And our pay plan now for the future, which Tom, I appreciate your incredible support. Now, the teacher pay will be dependent upon you. If a teacher is a leader of other teachers, guess what? We're going to pay them more, just like we would in industry. Leadership is what you should be rewarded for and encouraged and incentivized. This is going to make our students better, and this is all about students now. This is a change from the last 25 years and how the other party treated education. We're going to be looking at the factors that matter, that help have results instead of just activity. Sun Valley School, going to that school, Jack, I enjoyed the moment. This week, I met with over 100 doctors who came over to the executive mansion. Doctors that are concerned about Obamacare. Doctors that have no idea how their hospitals are going to survive in the future. Doctors have no idea how the federal government, because there are ever-changing changes in paying structures for Medicaid and Medicare, how are they going to survive, much pay off their past student debt and become in practicing medicine? We met with them and we proposed a plan. Aldona Voss, our great Secretary of Health and Human Services, went out and talked to the doctors and said, what do you need? And you know what we're going to do? Instead of having pay for service, we're going to start paying doctors for results, just like teachers, because that's what they want. We're going to start paying doctors for preventing sickness, not just treating sickness. We're going to pay for doctors for working as a team, so when you come to see a doctor, and if you happen to be on Medicaid, you'll have a whole group of people who deal with your back, who deal with your teeth, who deal with your heart, all at one time, and you get one bill, not 6 different bills. And then the taxpayers save money, and Medicaid will not bankrupt our system. This is the reform that we must have in North Carolina, and we think we can lead the way and be an example. We have got to get control of our budget, and we've got to do reform, both to save you money and to provide better quality care, especially for those people in need. And that's exactly what this administration is going to do. Jack, I'm enjoying the moment. Yesterday, I really enjoyed the moment. I got out of the car at one intersection, and there were some protesters there. And one guy was just yelling at me. Just screaming at me. And he was expecting me to walk away, and so did my staff. I went, no, let's go talk to him. So the guy just kept shouting, and he kept shouting no matter, as I got closer and closer and closer, he kept shouting at me. And I didn't even know what he was shouting. And I finally said, you don't need to shout to me. I'm human just like you are. Let's just have a conversation. And we had a conversation about gas exploration and fracking. He expressed his opinion, and I expressed mine. And my opinion is this: ladies and gentlemen, North Carolina needs to participate in the energy independence of this nation. And no longer can North Carolina sit on the sidelines in energy exploration. And we're going to start the process now of energy exploration to create jobs, to promote clean energy, which is natural gas, and to make our nation more independent, right here in North Carolina. I'm enjoying this moment. You know, we've heard a lot of criticism. I'm hearing from the left-wing protesters, the left-wing editorial writers from Charlotte to Raleigh, the New York Times, Rachel Maddow, Bill Mayer, and other self-proclaimed intellectual geniuses. Ladies and gentlemen, they have every right to their opinion. But I'm telling you what we're doing. We're preparing this state for the next generation in a positive way. We're tearing up the credit card to the federal government right now, as we did with unemployment. We're putting people back into work. We're preparing our schools for the future. We're creating and unleashing the resources underneath our ground. And we're going to make North Carolina #1 again, not 5th in unemployment. We'll never go back to those days, because this is what leadership is all about. So while the New York Times and MSNBC and the editorial pages right here in North Carolina continue to throw everything at us, we'll duck and weave, but we're going to charge forward in a pragmatic, respectful, strategic, visionary way for this state. I promised when I become governor that I'd work with each one of you and work with the entire state, because we were going to have a Carolina comeback. If we continue at this rate, this is going to be a Carolina miracle. Because Carolina is moving, we're beating our competition, we're creating jobs, and we're improving this state for the next generation. Jack, I'm enjoying the moment. Thank you for this incredible opportunity. God bless you, and may God continue to bless our nation and the greatest state in the